Yeah.
Not the Blue Ranger.
I know, right?
All right. Well,
How's everybody doing?
yeah.
Good.
I did. I
Yeah, I was
really
gonna say, very excited. I'm a Colossus Girl and Hardly Heroes. We'd love to welcome you guys here. We're so happy you guys are here today. I'm very excited to ask you guys some questions. My name's Buddy. This is Manny.
I'm Manny. We're from the Hardly Heroes podcast,
Yeah.
and we were invited here by a Colossal Girl to come and moderate the panel. So we were very excited to do so, and we get to meet a lot of really cool people like you guys.
Yeah, we're very excited.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, no problem. So we have Deborah Estelle Philips, the Yellow Ranger from Time Force. We also have Mike Ginn from RPM, Gold Ranger.
Yep.
Ginn,
Like
sorry.
the drink.
Sorry, I'm so sorry.
No worries, no worries.
I'm very excited because I'm a Power Ranger fan, so I'm very excited to ask you guys some questions.
Very cool.
But I first want to know how you got into Power Rangers. Deborah, do you mind
Okay.
going first?
Well, yeah, no worries. How did I get into that? Well, I was just going through the whole auditioning process, like every actor. Had done a few things here and there. I feel like I told this story a few times, but I actually was approached to audition for Lightspeed Rescue. I had just gotten in the business, but literally I just got into the business. So I was used to doing like the no speaking role. Like I didn't think I had what it took to like actually be in like to lead a show. Like I just was intimidated. So when my theatrical agent was like, you know what, do you think you're ready? I have an audition for Power Rangers. I was like, no, I'm not really ready. So I said no. I was comfortable doing like print work and just not really going for like any type of leading role of anything. I was like, no thanks. So then I started to get my feet wet and, you know, did a couple things here and there, and I'm like, okay. And then the next year, the opportunity came again on my birthday. And I was like, oh, okay, this is cool. I'm always sometimes I get discouraged when I get the sides to like an audition. I'll like read it through and I'm like, this does not sound like, this, I know what they're looking for, this won't fit me, this won't fit me. But when this came around, I was like, Katie, oh my gosh, this is me. Like, oh, I got this one. No, this is, oh no, this is Katie? I'm Katie. And I was like, yes. So the audition specified for like form-fitting clothes, it's from the future. So little things like that. So I was kind of like, I got intimidated because at the audition, there were people who like went all out and they were like futuristic and like all kinds of costumes. I was like, whoa. But I was like, you know what? No, I'm gonna just, you know, I had some army pants, ironically, they kept that. I threw in some contacts, thinking that would, I don't know, look like the future. Like, I don't know. I was like, let me just look, okay, whatever. And I just they kind of end up keeping a lot of my choices, which is really cool for an actor to be like, oh,
That's
yeah.
great.
Yeah, that was really cool. And then I met Iris, our casting director, who's just a doll, and we connected like right away. And I remember she said, we'll be seeing you again. And I didn't hear back for like a month. So I was like, okay, this is Hollywood, right? So a month later, I get an audition for Power Rangers. And I'm like, oh, is this a callback a month later? But it's the same like audition. And I'm like, did they just not cast for this? And at this time, I didn't know it was for a Power Ranger. I thought it was for, I don't know, like I thought it was a guest spot. They didn't tell me you are for a Yellow Ranger. It was so that was good because I would be nervous if I knew I was replacing a Ranger. I'm like, I'm not worthy. So at that point, I'm like, okay, I do it again. Oh, we'll see you back. And never hear from them again. So this went on like 4 times.
Jeez.
And then finally, there was a room filled with people, the competition. I'm like, ooh, I got nervous. I saw my cast. I kind of saw who was going to make it. And there I kind of was like, yeah, that's going to be the red. That's going to be pink. And I was kind of right for the most part.
That's pretty
Except
cool.
for one. But it was like we kind of connected, and then they kind of matched us together, and then they called everybody back like 3 times, except for me. They only called me once, so I was like, oh, I didn't get it. And especially what they were looking for super strong. My competition, she looked like a wrestler. I was like, oh, I'm done. And I was like driving home, like crying, I blew it, oh. And then I really wanted it really bad, and then I manifested it, and it happened, and I was like, oh, it was the best thing ever. So. That's my story.
That's good.
In a nutshell, I guess.
How about you, Mike?
Yeah, mine wasn't. My casting process wasn't as elaborate as that. Yeah, like it was. Yeah, I guess. I mean, like, yeah, no, we just auditioned as well. I actually had auditioned for the Green Ranger in RPM first, and then when they brought me back, they said, "Oh, could you also read for Red and Blue?" And then I didn't get any of them.
Oh,
No, but then then they asked me to come back for Gold, and I was like, yeah, and then I'm not sure if you guys know in RPM, there's a Gold and Silver Ranger, and so the Silver Ranger is my twin sister, and they have a thing where they kind of finish each other's sentences, and so like I'll start a sentence, and then she'll come in and kind of like finish the sentence, so they have a kind of like twin speak kind of thing. But yeah, and so I kind of auditioned for the Gold, and then they paired me up with a girl, and then we had to work that together with the twin speak. And then they didn't hire the girl, and then they paired me up with two other girls, and then in the end they went with Li Ming, who was the Silver Ranger on the show. But that was, yeah.
I was gonna ask you, so on RPM, she is your twin.
Yeah.
And what I thought was really cool is I was reading, you have a twin brother, correct?
Yeah, yes, I do, yeah.
And I was wondering, how does he feel, that
I know.
now that you're a twin, is portrayed by a girl? I thought it was kind
Right. Well, yeah. Yeah. So my twin in real life. He's not identical. So we don't look alike. We're not. Yeah. I don't know.
He's a lawyer, right?
Yeah.
He is a lawyer. You guys.
Sorry, I did a lot of research.
We did a lot of stalking research.
I really didn't want to let you
No,
down.
yeah, no, so I don't know, like in terms of, I feel like on the show she was more of a twin because like we don't look alike. It seems like we're kind of in real life we're kind of just like brothers, but we happen to be born on the same day. But he doesn't obviously like finishes my
No,
sentences.
yeah, I didn't
So like
think
she
so.
was more of a twin in that sense that there was more like connection, like a twin connection.
Yeah, I just thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
You had a twin in the show. And
Yeah,
a
for sure,
twin in
for sure.
real life,
Yeah.
so
Can
No,
you
it's
guys,
like-
can you guys see through the
Helmet?
helmets, by the way? Are they like completely blocked out? I'm just curious.
I actually did put this on when I got it. I was so excited. I was like, and then I got claustrophobic because I sealed it shut. I was like, oh, and it was like, me out. But you can see through.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
good. I was wondering that.
But I know for the show they had special stunt helmets. So.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm not sure if you guys know that. I mean, on our show anyway, when the helmet goes on, that's like the stunt people.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. I mean, did you
Spoiler
guys put on?
alert.
Yeah, sorry. Did I just
Well,
roll
I'm
movie
really
magic just
talented.
then?
I'm just really, really good like that.
I also had a weird question. Were you guys jealous of anybody else's Zords in the show?
Oh, you mean different seasons?
No, or any season, it doesn't matter. I just thought, because your Zord you don't really get to pick.
Yeah.
So I thought maybe, I don't know if you guys are, maybe just on your own show being like, man, I wish I would have had
I'll tell you
Red
what I was
Ranger."
jealous of, because in our season, our season was RPM, which is like basically a vehicle season. There's like vehicles and stuff. Yeah, like they all had vehicles. They all had like
You
cars
didn't?
and stuff. And so we had like our Zord was a helicopter. So we didn't actually have equivalent because they actually had cars that they would drive. They had like a street racing car and like a muscle car kind of thing.
There's a Hummer.
Yeah, and there's a Hummer and there's a motorcycle, and yeah, I didn't get to have that because mine was a helicopter. My Zord was a helicopter, so there wasn't going to be a helicopter equivalent, that I
Yeah.
had. So that was what I was jealous of. Having my own car,
Yeah, then you could have kept it, and
Yeah.
drove up,
Yeah, right.
to all the cons with
Yeah,
the
so, but I mean, yeah, it's, yeah.
And we had our vector cycles, which were pretty cool.
Yeah.
But I mean, that was like, we had mode red, mode blue. I was just like, yeah, come on now, let's do this, let's connect. I wasn't tripping, I was just, yeah,
Just happy to be
just
on
happy
the
to be
show.
on the show.
I wasn't tripping either.
No, I know.
No, okay.
Well, and another question I had, so Power Rangers is known for their crazy monsters. How was it working with those? I know that the stunt doubles put on when you put on the helmet. Sorry to ruin it again.
They're not actually monsters, they're people in monster suits.
Yeah, but
Just
give away all the secrets.
No CGI.
But yeah, maybe a favorite, or I just thought they're so intricate
Yeah.
in all of the shows across the board, and I love the crazy detail that goes into them. So I didn't know how it was working with them, or just getting up and close
Yeah,
with them.
I'm a scaredy cat in general.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
I can't handle horror. I realize that in yeah, I just can't. But our main villain, Rancic,
Yeah.
Vernon, he was so great, and he was just like messing with me all the time. But like, I don't know, like it was great working with, the foam rubber monsters. They were so, I know there was one that I thought was adorable. It was actually in Tripp's episode where there was one that was like a scaredy cat. It was like, he was petrified, he didn't really want to be. He was so cute. And the voices, of course, when it comes to life and you watch it, you're just like, oh, you're adorable. Like, aw, but no.
I don't know if that's what they were going for, but yeah.
I know, maybe not.
She's like, oh man, you're so cute.
I know, they're like, what? I'm supposed to be tough. No,
Yeah.
no.
I actually really enjoyed those monsters. They're like so campy, and my favorite was one called Dumbot, and it was like a gym monster, and he had like kind of like workout type stuff, and
Yeah.
like the dumbbells and stuff. So he was like Dumbot. I don't know. It's just like they're super campy, and it is what it is. But it's
Yeah.
The
It's
Saw
just
one
funny,
was
you know.
my favorite
The
from
what?
PM. The Saw one where
Oh yeah.
and his arms,
Yeah,
and he
yeah.
had like saw
Yeah.
blades like
Whoa.
all on his shoulder
Yeah,
blades.
I
like,
remember
it was
that
very
one.
intricate.
I had to there was a kind of thing where he had to kind of like saw me, and I had to like catch it, when those films where someone's like coming at you with a sword and you go like, "Oh," like that, like it's gonna actually stop, but it did. So
Yeah, it works.
Glad.
yeah,
No, so that one was just something.
that's cool, man. Yeah.
Yeah. What did you learn from the Rangers? Because there is a kind of sense behind Rangers of that pride and how they feel. I want to know if maybe any of that translated after the show, if you kind of
Kind of
pick up anything.
like, we learned the value of friendship.
That's what I
I
want
know.
to hear.
Okay.
Oh, man.
And teamwork.
I know, teamwork.
And that we can overcome anything.
Yeah.
Gosh, for me, I feel like honestly, I know it sounds cheesy, but it's Power Rangers. No, I'm kidding. But once a Ranger, always a Ranger, for real.
That's great.
That's what I
Like
like
for
to
real,
hear.
I feel like a legit superhero. Like I
You
know,
are.
I am, like I'm always trying to like I don't know, like I know this. Okay, this is really gonna sound okay, but
No.
I know you guys, the Northern Cal with the fires. I'm gonna say this, but like the fires were just horrific. What's going on up here? I'm from Southern Cal, so I'm just watching the news. I'm like, oh my gosh. I legit was like, I got a whole bunch of masks because I know it was in demand up north, and I just was like, oh my gosh, like I wanted to just, like you just have that Power Ranger instinct forever, like always. I don't know.
That's
But
awesome.
I'm like, it's great. It's like I was worried for everybody's lungs. I was
No.
concerned.
No, it is. Mine's not going to sound as heroic as that. But, no, one thing I learned from the show, from actually seeing okay, so yeah, I was actually talking about this just before, but a lot of the kind of fights and amazing stunts that you see comes from the stuntman, as much as we'd like to take credit for it. But yeah, and so I don't know, my kind of respect for stunt people in the business, watching these actual Power Rangers doing their thing, has just increased. They would, besides just making us look good, they would like do these crazy stunts over and over again, take after take. There'd be there's this jungle gym fight scene where, and if this is the slide, this one guy had to fall back and hit the side of the edge of the slide, and he'd fall on the ground, and I would watch him do that take after take, and I don't know, I feel like stunt people, I would never do stunts. I'd always be like, get in the stunt guy. But I feel like they just don't get as much appreciation, and people don't see it. I don't know. It's
How
yeah,
hard
so
they work.
yeah,
Oh,
and so
yeah.
my respect for stunt
Oh,
people
100%.
has
That's
just
a great
increased
point.
a
I
lot.
mean, that's kind of really when you guys think of Power Rangers, we were thinking about the suits and the helmets. That's like Power Rangers. So yeah, by all means, it's
Yeah.
like we get
Yeah,
credit for their
yeah.
abuse. Like,
Yeah,
guys shouldn't cut yourself short. I mean, you guys are a huge part of the Rangers, you know, how you guys are outside of the suit, what you guys stand for, and,
Thanks, man.
you know, I mean, it's big. I mean, I'm a huge fan of Rangers, and I always thought it was fun how prideful they are, and that's what's so cool about Rangers, and what always draw me to them, so that's kind of
For sure, and I don't, you know, and I didn't realize the effect until I came to cons like this and people kind of showing, you know, saying, you know, that sort of stuff and go, wow, I guess, yeah, I was a part of, I mean, I always knew that Power Rangers was a big thing, but, you know, just understanding you're part of a bigger thing, how when you hear it affects people that way, and you know, I grew up with it, and I did this as a result or whatever, and you go, wow, it's very humbling anyway.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Wow.
that kind of ties into my next question of how is it seeing other people dress up as you know, as your Ranger, like that? I just want to know how that feeling is.
Wow. I think the first time, well, actually the first time that ever happened, honestly, I didn't even know what cosplay was. This was the very first Power Morphicon. I crashed it with my Green Ranger because I heard somebody dressed like me. I was like, who's dressing like what? And so I'm like, oh, okay. And then there was a panel going on with the stunt team, and I was just like, wow, I was shocked. It's such a it's a humbling feeling, and it's almost like, wow, especially so many years later, like that's crazy. And having an action figure, knowing that, like, oh, it's just crazy. I think my first actual like Comic-Con, I was like, I cried the whole time, like in my hotel room. I was like, oh, like the gifts people were I was just crazy, yeah, overwhelming.
Oh yeah, I think it's
Crazy.
Yeah, no, yeah, I love it too. Yeah, it is. It's humbling as well. Yeah, there's not much more to add. It's the first time I actually saw. So I've only done like 3 cons, and so yeah, there's one my last con, Lexington. They had a bunch. They came. There's a whole group of them, and they came as each of the Rangers from RPM, including Dr. K.
Oh really?
Yeah. It's like all the
way,
Rangers,
that's
all of
cool.
the Rangers, like all of them, and Dr. K. And it's like that was, I don't know, it just looked really cool. And it's like, can we take pictures with you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really liked the backstory in RPM of how you guys knew Professor K. I thought
Yeah,
that
yeah.
was really cool how they kind of tied it all together.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that was cool.
I want to know if you guys had a favorite behind-the-scenes story of when you guys were taping.
I'm sure there's plenty.
Yeah. The only one that sticks out in my mind was a funny scene, and it was actually there was one episode where it was like just kind of behind the scenes of RPM, and it was a scene where Ari had to say a line, this dramatic line, and then he farted straight after, and it was actually, and that was something that I still remember. That was just funny.
Did you
Yeah.
clear the room?
Yeah.
But no, actually, it was out in the desert, you know, like,
Oh,
yeah. Thank God.
Oh my
But
God.
no, it was just really funny, because he did this dramatic line, and it went like that, and it's just,
That's awesome.
everyone laughed, it was great.
Well, anybody that kind of follows Time Force and knows about Jason Font, and there's always, he's just funny in general. Like, there would always be a time where, okay, and action, and then he would just like, him and Mike would come out like in his boxers or whatever. Like, we're like, what are you doing? Like, just some random thing to throw everybody off. So that would always be the case. But behind the scenes, I remember we were filming somewhere in like some deserty situation, and we had a special set visits from Robert De Niro's children. Oh my gosh, we found out about this. This is when we were filming Movie Madness, I believe, and I am not really sure which one, or it could have been the Lightspeed. It might have been it was either Movie Madness or the team up with Lightspeed. I can't remember which one, but it was out in the field somewhere. And they had told us the day before, like, we have a really important, guest, and we're like, what? The Robert De Niro, wait, who?
Like, hold on.
Oh my gosh. So, of course, he has twin boys. They were like around maybe 5 at the time. And they had, of course, he wasn't there, Robert De Niro, we're like, where's he at? But he had his bodyguard, he had, I think, his mom or somebody else, and it was just so cool to know, like, yeah, we're on a show that people that we look up to have kids that know about it. Like, it was the reality check. I was like, whoa. And so we're all like, and then, super behind the scenes.
Ooh.
Earmuffs for, no earmuffs necessary. But his kids, like, they were kind of, they had that kind of like, cause you know how like when kids see us, like they get kind of like nervous. They don't want to like, it's you, but then they don't want to say anything. Well, anyways, they were kind of, it was hard to warm up to them for the longest time. And then finally they started warming up. I knew how to like get their attention. They were having a good time. They liked me a lot, right? They liked me. I was like, oh, Robert De Niro's kids like me. Ah. And then one of them goes, I want you to come over to my house. Maybe you could be our babysitter. I was like, yes. I'm like, tell your daddy. Yeah. I was like, oh my gosh. But then it didn't happen.
Probably
But yeah, that's.
probably a pretty good paycheck there.
I know. I was like, I'll do it. Shoot, I film at 4. But yes, that's what time do you need?
Second I'm done with this,
Yeah, I know, I'll be there, helmet and all. You know. Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, did you guys, since we brought up the colors, did you ever get sick of wearing yellow?
Man. Well, after filming, everybody in your life is like, oh, here's a yellow this and here's a yellow that. No, I actually didn't though. It's always a reminder of one of the greatest times ever for me.
Oh, nice.
And I feel like I get a lot of symbolic, like whenever I see something yellow, I'm like, oh, it just it speaks to me in a way that I just feel like, because Power Rangers was really honestly one of the most special times in my life. I'll be honest, like it really was. So. Yes, when I have that yellow connection, I'm just like, yeah, I'm here. You know? It's like one of those.
I wonder if that's true for everyone, because it's definitely true for me. Like
Yeah.
you just get, like you know,
It's a part of you.
Well, it's not. Yeah, you kind of, it becomes a part of you, and it's like, and where it wasn't before. You know, you might not have had an attachment to gold, where after it is now, and you know, I don't know. Like just buying this watch, there's like gold in it, and like I'm not sure if I would have bought this particular watch if it wasn't. I don't know. It is. You just get a new kind of like relationship
so.
with the color.
Yeah.
And I wonder if that's the same with all
I
actors.
mean,
like,
that's a good question.
Yeah,
Because
like-
I know that's like legit.
I mean, it just because you were that color ranger, I don't know. It definitely has for me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, good. That's-
Yeah, it's even in my my gaming name, like, you know,
Oh.
gold.
Yes.
So yeah, it's just everything. Yeah.
That was funny. I was actually going to bring up, Deborah, you actually did a voiceover for the Power Rangers game, correct?
Yes, I did. Wow.
How
I was
was
like,
it?
oh, did I do this? Oh, man. You know what? I did. I don't really know the details. I don't think I've ever heard it, actually. Does anybody have it?
Oh,
I
that
don't
was
see it.
okay.
But I did. I remember doing some voiceover stuff for stuff. I know we did. There was like some game, like a virtual reality tour game that Tours of Us was doing around the time we did it. I don't know. I know I'm not crazy. We actually did have a tour bus. Everyone's like, okay, Debbie. No, we really did. And I remember voicing for that. And it was like aroma vision. They'd like spray mint and eucalyptus. And oh, I smell them. It's like, you get wet and you're like, what? But like, I remember doing the voice for that.
Okay.
So I don't know if that's the same thing. But I do remember.
Because I was going to ask you if you ever played the game.
I would love to.
What is it on?
I think
It's on, I want to say, I think it's like PlayStation. It was on the
Oh,
PlayStation.
it's got a-
I do remember when that came out. I remember my mom used to buy a bunch of stuff, like anything that, again, she'd always
Oh,
buy
that's
them.
good.
But it was one of those things you just never open,
Right.
so I don't know if that still works.
Let's say that to any of your parents, or if you guys have a shrine at home. when you're-
Yes, you
Right,
know it's
it's
true.
right.
It's like, I know, it's like, I know.
I wish I had a shrine.
I know.
I liked, you know, just like the morphers and all that stuff. I saw some of the stuff at your guys' booth, but I'm really excited that they let you guys keep the helmets.
Well,
Nope.
No?
No.
we
you
have the
got
best
you get
fans
to
in the
carry 'em
world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have the most talented and the best fans ever.
Yeah.
Like literally, everything that I have here on display, a fan either made it or
Right.
gave it to
Wow.
you.
Yeah.
The morpher, they gave one to me.
Right.
I have a
That's
little
really
mini V4, if you know from the show. It's like a huge bazooka. Well, this is like a mini one. Somebody gave it to me. The badge, they gave it to me. Like the helmet, somebody made it. I mean, we're blessed. I don't
So
know.
that's
what else.
fan.
They don't-
Fan.
Yeah, oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure if this is fan made or not.
That might be the real deal. Oh my.
I mean, yeah, it's yeah, they didn't give us anything, and some of the actors stole stuff.
Well,
Because that's what actors do, by the way. Like, not steal, but like, you know, they'll take stuff from the set after the production's over. They'll take like, you know, like jackets or whatever, or like, you know, some props.
I've
Yeah.
heard they try to keep a tight ship on stuff like that, like.
They would.
Yeah,
But, I
you know,
mean,
hanging on
like,
to stuff like
I remember
that.
one of the actors, I'm not gonna name names, but like one of the actors, he was like, hey Mike, check that, and he opened his bag and there was like a bunch of props, and I was like,
Oh, I think I kept debris. Like when they started breaking our stuff down, I'm like, mine. That's my clock tower.
Yeah, I would feel like you have like emotional attachment to a lot of that
Right.
stuff, and
Yeah.
you're like,
So
I don't wanna.
yeah, well, I mean, I don't know, because like, so the actors took each of the leather jackets from it.
Oh,
One of the actors like just eBayed his, so I don't know if there's any.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, because you know they can go for quite a lot.
Because they had their number stitched into the back of them.
Yeah, and it's the actual legit like
Oh, wow.
set one. So
I know, the only thing I wondered what happened to the cars in
yeah,
Harvey.
I don't know. Yeah, who knows? But yeah, they would. Yeah, but yeah, they would sell like some of them sold their stuff because it's like the original prop kind of thing. So I mean, some had emotional touches, some kept theirs.
Well, yeah, now I feel bad for bringing up sore subjects of you guys not getting to keep that.
I mean, it's not too sore since you know we get this. So.
I know,
Yeah,
like
I
I
know
feel like
that.
it came back.
Band-Aid, these are
We did it the
awesome.
right way and it came back. Like,
Yeah.
you know, and it's with
Karma
such
works
a
your way.
love of like their love and their passion mixed with our attachment. So it's like, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't just be like, here, let me just take this. I wanted to. Believe me, I questioned why didn't I? But maybe if I had another company, I did. No.
No,
Where's my
I
card?
think I would
Go back in
now,
time, no
but
way.
it was like one of my first like ever shows I was on. Like I just first got out of drama school, but I think now I probably have a bit more like be a bit more bold, just like steal something.
I think for me, it would be more, I'd be more vocal about it. Like, you know what?
Well-
I would talk to like people and say, you cannot, like.
You know, apparently they cut it up and they burn it. Like
What?
that's,
Give
apparently
it to
that's
me.
No way.
Why are they burning
I don't
our
know.
stuff?
That's apparently what they do.
It's horrible.
Yeah,
That's not good at all. That
that's what I
makes me
heard.
actually
Anyway,
really
I don't know.
What?
I don't think they keep it like a lot of the
Why?
stuff.
Just give
I
it
don't
to
know.
us. We would wear it.
Yeah, I don't know.
I would.
Because they'll think you're gonna sell it maybe.
I
don't
wore
know.
the outfit.
Well,
today.
I can see that. They think you're gonna auction.
But they
off
apparently
this
they
Apparently
they
they
destroy
did.
it apparently.
Aw.
Yeah, apparently. So
stuff. That's sad.
yeah.
Well, we
We
got
have-
fans that can recreate it.
Yeah, exactly. We have some questions that we usually like to ask. What is your favorite superhero?
I'm gonna
Maybe
say
outside of the
Outside, you don't have
Yeah,
to
yeah,
be Power
yeah,
Rangers.
yeah.
just
the
something.
first thing I thought of legit was Wonder Woman.
Of course, that's doing it big right
Right.
now.
And I
Yeah.
still haven't seen the movie.
now. Oh,
I know.
It's good. It's good.
But
No, it's really good.
It's good.
I
Really
would
good.
be like, yeah, she's
Yeah.
Wonder Woman. I watch it. I will do it.
My favorite, just ever since I was a kid, like ever since kindergarten, and I dressed up as Superman. He's been my favorite ever since. Like I like Superman type stuff, like keychains and this and that. So I'm a big Superman fan.
Do you have a preference on Henry Cavill or?
Yeah, I like Henry Cavill. I think he makes for. I mean, like, yeah, you know, Christopher Reeve's like, and is always like, you know, the classic Superman, and that's who I grew up with. But I don't know, like, I really like Zack Snyder's universe. Like, in my mind, Henry Cavill looks more like Superman than, I mean, and ever since even like, I remember as a kid just seeing like Christopher Reeve, and in my mind, it didn't compare to like the comic version. I don't know, it's just something about, I think Henry Cavill just looks like a better, and I like the universe too, in terms of like his universe. It's more comic booky than like, you know, say Christopher Nolan's like Batman. It's like too set in reality, and you know, when you talk about the superheroes, it needs to be a bit hyper realistic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I
Still
like
fantasy.
the universe a lot more, and I like Henry
Their
Cavill.
costumes are so much more intricate now and detailed. It's like everything in Henry Cavill's costume. There was so much detail in there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
I loved how his S looked on his chest.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's just something about it and how it glistened.
Yeah. I don't. Yeah, just it's in my mind, just more comic booky and how I kind of envisioned it. If it were like live action.
Yeah.
I'm ranting. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. That actually helps me.
Yeah. Okay.
Now I have another, stay in the superhero realm. What would your power be if you could have
Any?
superhero
Any
power?
superhero power, any ability.
I,
Yeah,
I
no,
love
you
that.
know, I'm still trying to think.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
sorry.
I've thought about this. Okay, if it was one, it's really hard because it's a toss-up between like, I'd like to fly. I would like to fly,
There you go.
but also,
My
but
choice.
I'm not.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I like the idea of. I don't know why, but I like the idea of being immortal.
Yes.
So in terms of like practicality, I think I would go with being immortal, but at the same time, I would love to fly.
So you want to live forever, huh?
Yeah, I am gonna live forever.
Yeah, there you
I like it.
go. Technology is catching up.
Right? Yeah, for
Seriously,
sure.
you never know these days. But the flying thing, no, I'm so scared of heights. I'd be like,
Okay.
oh, I'm gonna crash, right? But I'm kind of like reading minds, kind of like Trip.
Oh.
Or, let's see. I don't know.
How
Maybe
would you
just reading
use?
minds.
How would you use reading minds? Like, would you use it for good? Would you use it for personal gain?
Great.
See, I would be
Use it to-
tempted to use it for
Right.
personal gain, but I would be like, no, you can't do that. Get out of his head or her head.
But you'd have
Maybe just to get out of debt, right?
Yeah,
Yes. Ooh, I know. Like, see.
And then, but once you're out of debt, it's like at that point you might as well like make some money.
Yeah.
I
And then,
know,
like, where would you
exactly.
start?
It's
Oh
Yeah,
my
it's
God,
slow.
that's a
I
good
gotta buy
idea.
all the
I know,
house.
like
Yeah.
gambling. Wait, hold on a second.
And then you become this billionaire,
I
like
know, it's like,
mastermind.
yes, that would be a difficult.
And then after money,
That's
you're like,
tempting.
I want power.
I know.
Oh,
Gosh, we're
And then
never
you become-
satisfied.
You
It's
become
never
a super villain.
I
at that
know.
point.
Oh my
Power.
gosh. But that's a good one. So I don't know.
World.
That one's kind of dangerous. That's a
Alright.
good gift.
No, I mean it could be, but
Yeah.
it's how you use it. It's,
Now
with
that you
great
got
power
into those-
comes great
Great
responsibility.
responsibility. Oh, it's our
There you
people,
go.
right?
Now that you got into, her becoming a mastermind, who's your favorite villain?
Oh.
Because, you guys are Power Rangers, so you're not supposed to
I
have
will.
favorite villains, so I'm trying to sneak that one in, see if.
I'm happy to have a favorite.
Are we
I'm happy
talking
to think about it.
Ranger
And
villains
no,
or just
any
in general?
villain.
Okay, honestly, okay.
Oh, I think I know.
I would have said the evil queen from Once Upon a Time, but she's so not a villain anymore, so I can't really use her. But she's my favorite villain.
She's great.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I don't know. I gotta think about this.
Yeah, it's a question that I've not actually thought about before. Like I could give you like a bunch of superheroes that's my favorite in the list, but like in terms of villains, never thought about it. But just kind of off the top of my head, was like, you guys remember Captain Planet?
Oh,
You remember like Captain Pollution?
Yeah.
I love it because I remember it was like he was like, I'm Captain Pollution. I don't know, and it just like off the top of my head that just came up, and he was just kind of fun because all the villains had their rings and they would
Yeah.
like call up Captain
Wow.
Pollution. I am
like that.
Captain
I'm still gonna
Pollution.
have to think about that. I'm like, I don't know if
Yeah.
I like
I've
bad
never
guys.
heard
Wait.
that one before.
Yeah,
I really like
yeah. They
that.
summoned Captain
But that's
Pollution.
good. I'm all. Well, he can be mine too. No, he
Okay.
can't. I like
I'll
that.
share.
I know. Let's
I'll share.
share. Okay, we'll share bad guys.
No, that is awesome. Yeah, those are some of the questions. What? No, what were you gonna say?
What about the zombie apocalypse?
All right.
We like to
I
ask.
don't know if you guys
Yeah.
are into zombie,
I like this
with
question, but-
Walking Dead and all the zombie,
Yeah.
shows going on. We always like to ask, and some people kind of look at us weird, what would be your zombie apocalypse weapon?
Okay, it
Choose
has
any
to be
weapon.
a,
That's not a
Any
gun.
weapon.
No
Not a
gun.
gun.
Not a gun.
No gun.
okay, yeah, see, yeah, okay, all right, let me think.
So,
The Holy
Just to give you
Spirit.
an idea.
That's my weapon. Holy Ghost in the name of Jesus. That would be my
A cross.
Yeah.
No, that's vampire.
No,
That
it's
wouldn't
not.
work. That wouldn't work.
Prayer.
Unless you turn around, like sharpen the end and then stab people.
There you go.
because Manny picked a
That's so
mace
scary.
for his.
Like a mace, the chain, and the ball.
Oh,
Like
okay.
balls,
Look how little.
you could get
And then I
pretty far with that,
I
right?
found
I don't know,
on
like,
Amazon,
Okay, yeah.
they have machetes that strap to your arm so you can.
Oh
Machetes
my
would be
God.
good, but I
Yeah.
feel like,
Good one.
like with the mace with the ball and chain, like it's kind of like, have you ever tried using nunchucks? You end up hitting yourself with
Yeah,
it.
that-
Yeah.
I would be scared about
I
that,
probably
like going
would
and then
myself.
just land on yourself like that.
Yeah. And
But so I feel, yeah, go on.
No, I was gonna say just knives in general. That means you have to get close to them.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
I mean, what you can't use a no. They said no guns, so it has to be
Oh,
it has to be like
Yeah.
a melee
Like a
weapon,
spear.
right?
Oh,
I'm
You
talking
don't
like
get
it's
too
a
close
video
to
game.
the
yeah,
Right?
this is really serious.
It would be like have to be
What's my
it'd be
secret?
bladed.
Yeah.
I feel because
It would have to be.
you can just slice,
have to
and then you
face
just
your fears. That's what you gotta do.
it would be bladed. It wouldn't be a blunt weapon, and it would be probably I don't know. I feel like it might be because I'm thinking like close quarters and stuff as well. Like
Right.
actually it would be good. 'Cause, you have to go into like houses and like forage and stuff or like
Yeah.
food and like if you had like
Yeah.
a long
That's-
sword,
you're
which
planning.
might be.
Like, wait.
Yeah, I'll be
you know
great at
something
it.
I
Stick with
don't
me,
know
kid,
yet.
alright? Yeah.
As I say, now
No, I
she
can
knows
imagine like if you had
Yeah,
an
look at
outside,
you.
you'd have like a long sword would be good. But if you're indoors, like it's
Yeah,
not going to
you're
help you at
right.
all.
No.
So I feel like a machete actually would be a really good choice.
I'm thinking about
Yeah.
protection, like a shield.
Because
that's made
you
of
can use
armor.
it outdoors and indoors, and like there's a bunch of them. You can just like that. If there's a great sword, you don't. It's not as to be too heavy. You know
Well,
what I mean?
yeah, and you know, for tight spots, like
Yeah,
you said, if you're going
exactly.
through a house, you're going around a
Yeah.
corner, you're not gonna
Yeah.
have all that room.
Even like a katana, like it'd still be kind of like
Right.
cumbersome.
What if
I feel
we
like
can
a
use the
machete.
Star Wars things, the saber.
Oh,
So we
lightsaber?
can, like-
Oh, you said yeah. Actually,
I got a
And then put
lightsaber.
it
Yeah,
away.
actually have to
When
develop
you
the
see
technology
that?
for it.
actually, if we can use any weapon, it would be a lightsaber. 'cause
That
that would be the
is-
best.
yeah.
You know, they just went around, they were like,
That
hey,
would be
we're
the
just gonna
best.
go the future with lightsabers.
Yeah.
Time for a shoot. I'm gonna pull that out
Yeah,
somewhere.
exactly.
Like,
Like I'm a ranger, I'm from.
That because you just cut through them like butter. It'd just be
me
like,
somehow.
yeah, I love that. I'm going with that one.
Yeah.
Oh, no, the machete's too much.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because then
I'm
still
like, I don't
you're
wanna
stuck
accidentally
in,
cut
you know,
myself.
if you
It'd be
you know,
like,
just-
you know?
exactly, you just go
Totally.
through
It'd be
them.
yellow and gold, maybe like with gold like lasers popping
Mhm.
out. Done.
You know, and you could put on your helmets and it would help protect as well.
Done.
Would it?
Yes.
I'd be like, that's but
Well,
that's why
actually,
you'd be
yeah,
like,
it'd be too much, right?
I know,
It just
right?
gets
It's
stuck.
like-
yeah.
Yeah, just the little lasers don't get in our eyes.
Maybe like
Take care of
goggles,
my
so like the
business. Yeah, it's a
splitter
goggle.
doesn't
Yeah,
like,
goggle
I don't know.
action. Yeah, little-
Yeah, we want to open it up to you guys, see if
The
you guys had
audience.
any questions.
You guys have any questions for our panelists?
We have a question.
Yeah. So your guys' seasons are like almost the most matured and darkest seasons. Like it wasn't like cheesy like in Mighty Morphin. How does it feel like your guys' seasons are like that and you almost didn't feel like geared it towards a children's television show?
Yeah, that's a great question. That's actually, I don't know, like, well, I'm so grateful for Mighty Morphin because they really paved the way for us all. But I feel like when it came to Time Force, I honestly think, I don't really know the backstory as to what they were thinking when they created that, but I've heard rumors that it was kind of like they really wanted to go there. And I'm honored to have been a part of something like that where they were taking that risk because it could have gone one way or another way. And I do remember, because we didn't have the social media thing like today, so we never knew like if people were watching our show or liked it or whatever. But every once in a while we'd come to work and, you know, go in the area, like upstairs, in there. You didn't have the Valencia office, huh? You got
We
the
were in New
luxury of-
Zealand.
I know, show off. No
I
kidding.
don't know. Was Valencia?
Well, no, that was like the home base. That's like kind of
Oh.
like the original. But it's like that was like our home studio. But yeah,
Okay.
you guys had a whole brand new exotic. Like no.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we would always go upstairs. Hey everybody, and then we had like the newspaper and had like a newspaper clipping like Power Rangers is, you know, like it, almost like it kind of like came back in a way. Like I didn't know because I hadn't been really following like the past seasons. But I guess the maturity of it kind of got people really excited and. You know, now the parents are watching it with the kids, and it was cool. Like, we had really mature stuff, you're right. Love stories and violence. And
Yeah. I mean, I only kind of like got from it from what I hear from, you know, and just the conversation we had earlier at the table is you know, that they appreciated that change. So it's cool to know that, you know, some people, you know, liked the change because I guess when you're watching anything for like 20 years or whatever, then something different can be cool. And yeah, and you know, just fans saying that they appreciated the slightly darker tone and slightly more adult kind of like themes or tone makes me go, I'm glad that you guys enjoyed it. So yeah, as long as people enjoy it, then yes, it's definitely something that I respect too. Yeah.
Anybody else? Yeah. Top hat back there.
Surprised me, as a complete civilian and no whatever, when you guys do audition for something like Power Rangers or any of these where it's kind of an ensemble group like that, is it typical that you go in as the Yellow Ranger, or is it typical that you go in saying, hey, I really want to be in Power Rangers, I would like to audition, you pick me a Ranger?
Oh, that's a good, but you mean as the actor to say,
Right,
I
as an
want to
actor.
go up for the Yellow Ranger? That was never an option I was really given. As a matter of fact, when I went like the 4 times that I didn't know until the last time that it was actually for an actual ranger. And at that point, I don't know if they even had the color picked. I honestly feel like for me, I can't really remember specifically, but I remember they were focused on us training for like 2 weeks boot camp. After we got casted, I remember they went for the fitting first, we met who got casted, then there was like 2 weeks of boot camp before I even knew who the characters were. Then it was like, okay guys, we need to go to the, we're gonna have a table read, and that's when we learned who we were, what color we were, what the story was. We did like the whole like first episode. So I didn't know, it was just like, we're gonna be a ranger, that's cool.
Good, I heard you wrong, I thought you had gone specifically to audition for.
No,
Well,
but
that-
you know, I think
That
there
was
are
the
some
case
of
in,
us
yeah,
that
there was
were
the
like
case
that.
in our process because, well, just how it works in general anyway, is, well, you know, each of the rangers have different kind of personalities anyway, that they have their own. How it works is like in terms of like what agents receive usually from anything, they'll receive like a character breakdown that they have to cast, and it'll say, you know, the name, and then they'll have like a little brief thing about the character, and then that's how they kind of like, I think the agents basically decide who you, come to think about it, the agents would decide who you go get seen as, because it wasn't my case, you know. They'll see the characters for a show, they'll see like the little breakdowns of their personality, and they would submit
Their
that
clients.
to, yeah, the clients to the casting director, and that's how you'd get seen. And that's why I went for the green originally, and then when they had me come back, they were, oh, let's see you for red, green, and blue kind of thing. So they were still kind of trying to find their actors and match it too at that point. But yeah, I think it's, but they already knew the colors at that point, and for my particular show, my season. And so.
Maybe they did too, I don't think they shared it with us.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because I don't know, I was just like, hey.
Right. Yeah, so I think it's in terms of the auditioning process, going back to your question, I think it's the agents who initially have you seen, and you know, the casting director can have you come back as others if they think you might do better. And it's not uncommon for them to go, oh, you know, if you come in and read, to go, oh, let's see you for this other character, for any show. And so, yeah, I think that's kind of like.
And that was what I was wondering, once they
Right.
get to know you, they can change their.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
You fit perfectly.
Yeah, because at that point, they're only seeing like thumbnails. That's how, like, the casting directors, they see all these actors that get submitted from various agencies, and they just see a sea of thumbnails and pictures at that point. Until you come in, they get a sense of your essence or whatever.
And I feel like as the show goes on, I feel like they write based off of what they know about you. Because I kid you not, like I feel like with my season, it was like, they would incorporate who we are, but how they see us, and they would like write things in, except for movie madness. I was like, please don't make me sing and dance, and they did. And I was like, how do you see that in me? What have I demonstrated at all that I can do these things? I like try to sit them down. I was like, no, let's not do this. They're like, yes, you are. I'm like, okay.
You're
I
contractually
was
obligated,
like,
you do that.
no. I try to get like the voiceover. I'm like, I know someone who can sing. Here you go. No, they're like, you're gonna do it. Oh man.
Last question, Spider-Man?
I think Deborah might have answered it with her boot camp reference. My question was, did you guys have to have martial arts training prior to?
You know, if
Right.
I'm on the show, the answer is no. No. But here in my defense, Katie was strong. Like she was tossing people around. She didn't have time to fight the right way. She just like threw things and like broke things. But to answer your question, they should have. And no, they didn't. But they did ask. Part of the audition was one of the last parts, which was the hardest part for me. Tell us a little bit about yourself. I was like, they're like, what's your martial art background? I laughed, and then I told them I watch wrestling, and I tie bow. But you guys probably don't remember what that is. That was like decades ago.
Billy Blank.
I know, Billy Mays, yes! And then they were like, they were like totally serious. And I'm like, it was one of those awkward moments where like I laughed and no one did. And then they never called me back in after that, and that's why I cried all the way home. That's why. Because everybody else is like, Aaron's like, oh, I'm a dancer. And so we're like, brown belt, black belt, whatever belt. I don't know these belts. But I was not a belt of anything but Taibo and like wrestling. Yes, and they were like, and that was it, and I cried. And then 2 weeks later I got the call. I was like, thank you, God, redemption. It's like, yes.
Yeah, you'll find that you don't actually need martial arts experience, because, but you know, they do end up hiring people with experience as well. Like,
Yes.
yeah, there was certain actors that you hear about in past seasons that that were completely like uncoordinated, and you know, on the season that I was on as well. I'm not gonna name names, but yeah, you know, you definitely don't need to, because they have stuntmen and stunt women to do that. Even like without the helmet. They end up like hiding their faces when they do.
Yeah, they do.
So,
Good job.
yeah, you don't actually find you don't actually need to.
But it was fun to pretend.
They try to get you to do as much as you can do.
Yes.
But if there is someone who's very uncoordinated, then they have ways to fill that in, basically,
They did a great
with
job.
magic.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Deborah, and thank you, Mike, for
Thank you for having us.
Awesome. We've got some gifts from the podcast.
Oh, wow.
There you go. And keep your non-alcoholic drinks cold.
Thank you.
Of course.
Yes.
Yes.
Or, this is great. Thank you guys
You're welcome.
so
Thank you,
much.
thank
Thank
you.
you guys
Yeah.
for hanging out with us.
Yeah, thank you very
This is
much.
awesome.
Thanks.
I was gonna ask you about how that interview.
Thank you guys for all coming in. In about 15 minutes, we're gonna have
Was that,
Beverly Washburn from Old
It was
Yeller and
so
Star
cute.
Trek.
Oh, yeah.
Come back.
Really well.
Wait,